What is up, Packers fans, and welcome back to another episode of Packer Report TV. I am your host and the publisher of Packer Report, Ross Uglum. Joining me, as always, here in the Packer Report film room is Acme Packing Company's Dusty Evely. Dusty, how the hell are you, man?
Dude, I'm great. I'm great. Listen, we got a chance to digest the film a little bit. Some fun stuff put out. It's a beautiful day outside. We got Halloween this week. I'm doing great, dude.
Are you doing as great as this Reggie White Tecmo Bowl t-shirt?
Listen, I wore that. I wear that about once a week. I wore that to like a mini Comic-Con event we went to, and
Okay.
ended up talking to a dude who was running the table for 10 minutes about different players. He was like, I'd walk by him, and he's like, Christian Okoye. I was like, no, yeah, he was nice. He was nice. So yeah,
Yeah.
big fan of that shirt.
Right on. This obviously a super soft t-shirt from our friends at Homage. Link below in the podcast description or in the YouTube description. Help a brother out as we love the good people. The hoodies are great. The lightweight hoodies are great. These t-shirts are awesome. Fun designs, officially licensed designs. Don't have to worry about any of the bootlegging stuff. This stuff is great. Speaking of great stuff, another walk-off winner for the Cardiac Pack. Absolutely incapable of giving me, even when I thought they were just going to get blown out by the Vikings and I could sort of exhale, they took that away from me. This team refuses to allow me to just relax on a Sunday afternoon. But I got to tell you, they're 6-2. And when Jordan Love limped off the field in Brazil, I did not think 6-2 was on the menu. I didn't think we were getting 6-2.
No, absolutely not. And even when it was it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be, and he only missed the 2 games. Even then, okay, they're going to go 1 of 1. They're going to lose a game that they shouldn't at some point as well. 6-2 at this. I mean, they need to be 6-2 given the way the NFC North is shaken out. But 6-2 at this point with a team that, like, I still feel has not really played very good. Certainly not up to where I think they should be. It's kind of crazy, really.
Yeah, they're extremely talented. I think we kind of knew that coming in. But man, I made a joke. The original tweet was obviously about like religion or something meaningful. But it was, who saved you from your lowest moment? And I quote tweeted it, and my answer was Malik Willis.
That's right.
And and I feel like Malik Willis has saved us from our lowest moment. But for him to come into, net neutral situations where obviously it's a pretty neutral situation against the Jags. Obviously, neutral situation starting 0-0 in the 2 games that he started. I think you got to be impressed. Whether you want to give that coach, that credit to Coach LaFleur, Tom Clements, Steno, I don't care, or give all the credit to Malik Willis. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is, I mean, I talked about this with Andy Herman yesterday on the radio. If you go back, even because if you go back far enough into camp, people will be like, what do you mean Malik Willis is on the team? But if you go back even to after the Malik Willis acquisition, and you would have been like, Ross, Malik Willis started 2 games and had to come in the middle of a second one. What was their record? And 2 of those games, by the way, are on the road in pretty unfamiliar territory, like in AFC South territory. I would have said they lost.
Well,
a lot.
This game was super impressive too. I mean, he had those 2 that he had. Obviously, he had time to prep for those, right? He came into that Eagles game for 2 plays. He did not look good, but that was whatever. That was Hail Mary territory. Like, he was not going to look good. But he had time to prep for those other 2. And LaFleur obviously put in that stuff, game planned around him, tremendous game plans. Coming into this game injured, what Willis and LaFleur both did with like not a week of prep time was like, okay, man, like this thing's got a little bit of legs. Like Willis there's even that play action boot one that kind of set up the leak stuff that I know we're going to talk about here shortly. He had Reed on kind of like a little throwback off the slam route on that he clearly was told, do not throw unless it's the first read. Like, that's in his head. That has been drilled into his head. And you can see, I mean, that coaching has stuck, and he's done nothing but do good things to come into this game cold after not being in since like week 3 and do what he did, and the coaching staff doing what they did. I mean, I don't want to say more impressive than those 2 games that they won, because those were good game plans, but it was cool to kind of see that stuff carry over when he has not had the reps and they didn't have time to prep for this stuff.
And I think you just have to be in general impressed, because to me, like, maybe that first game for sure you could say, well, this was game plan specific. This was coached up really well. This was a great plan. After like game 2, and certainly some stuff here from the Jaguars game, he played well. Like taking
the Titans game, he's putting it on, dudes. Yeah.
Like all taking everything away from guardrails. Any type of euphemism you want to use about like, like the Kyle Shanahan point and shoot stuff, right? Like any idiot can play quarterback for Kyle Shanahan. That's sort of the thought process, right? You take away all the any idiot can play quarterback for Matt LaFleur stuff. Malik Willis is playing well. And the other guy, before we dive into the film here, that I really want to point out is Josh Jacobs. Especially after he's disappointing, which I was like, well, what?
You've not been watching the games.
What? Okay. I mean, look, like as a strictly fantasy perspective, okay. But that's Bill Barnwell, I think, wrote and I have like a tremendous amount of respect for Bill. Bill Barnwell is not a fantasy writer. So his lack of scoring touchdowns, I don't think should be a part of the conversation, but whatever. I thought he individually was great in this game. And especially, I think, if you're Jacksonville and they really committed, some of their defensive formations when Green Bay was trying to kill the clock were insane. And I get why Green Bay was unable to convert first downs. But even prior to Green Bay clearly trying to run out the clock, I felt like Jacobs was doing an excellent job, even when I think the Jaguars kind of knew it was coming.
He was getting 6 when he's supposed to be getting 2. Like 100%. He's been consistently doing that all year. He's getting what's there plus extra pretty much every single rep. Like it's been very impressive to watch him. Like again, like you said, the stats weren't there until this game. He's been super impressive this entire year.
Yeah, and people talk about paying running backs, but like, oh, what would you have done, Aaron Jones or Josh Jacobs? Like, I would have spent another pick on like Ray Davis to pair with Marshawn Lloyd, and just that would have been it. But then you see why I think there's a little bit of, as there usually is with Goody, and I'm still not saying I agree with the Jacobs contract, but you see the vision. And the vision, I think, Dusty, is this. We are going to draft all of these pass protectors. And we might get lucky and 3 of them turn out to be decent run blockers. Certainly seems like Sean Ryan is kind of doing that now. Yeah. But we're not going to have an elite 2-way offensive line 100%, because no one does. No one has 5 guys that can do both. It just isn't a thing. So if we're going to draft pass protectors, we need a back that can get us out the mud, because there's going to be some mucky stuff, because we don't have maybe any more than 1 or 2 road graders. And right now we're going to have both of our road graders play next to each other in Zach Tom and Sean Ryan. But other than that, like, we're not going to move guys. We're not going to really move guys. So we need this running back to get us out the mud. And I tell you what, man, Josh Jacobs is doing it.
Yeah. And then beyond that as well, I mean, the boring part of that stuff too is the pass pro stuff, right? Jacobs, I was a little bullish on Jacobs when they signed him, because his pass pro stuff with the Raiders last year was not great. And I think I did a video on this. My take on that at the time was, I think he is disinterested, because a lot of the pass pro stuff was like back half of the year, and they were bad.
They stink, yeah.
And he was whiffing on stuff. But I was like, how's this carry over? He's been great, and you can't, I mean, as well as I do, like, you can't count on a rookie to do that. Usually you don't get a guy like a running back really good in pass pro, usually like year 2, year 3, because all those guys are not doing it to that extent in college. And so that is you bring in Jacobs, you get a vet in the room. Again, I don't know about the contract, but I was kind of okay with it, because you get a vet in the room, and then you also get a guy that's just, okay, this guy knows how to do pass pro, and then the other guys can kind of come up around him, and he's been really good in that. I think a couple whiffs, for the most part, he's been very good in that aspect as well.
Absolutely. All right, let's dive into the film. You and I have done some deep cuts this year. You and I have played the hits. I got to tell you, Dusty, I'm playing a hit here. It is, guys, easy for you to find if you're on NFL Pro, or if you're, doesn't matter, however you're taking in the film. We're at quarter 4, 1 minute, 13 seconds left in the game, 2nd and 6. You can figure out what's going to happen next, and that is Jaden Reed, I believe, a 51-yard reception. Green Bay gets into a formation that you see a lot, in that they will have kind of a wing tight end. And really, it's funny because Jaden Reed lines up as a tight end. which is amazing to me. I mean, he lines up as a tight end, and you'll see Green Bay run split zone out of this a ton, where Kraft will come across the formation, he'll whack the backside end, and then the other five guys will push forward, and there's usually, you can either run with the flow, or there's a cutback off the center's butt, or there's a cutback off the backside guard's butt, and you can just go, and you can go on that path that Kraft has kind of created with that wham block. And they run this, and then they run fakes off this a ton. In fact, they run a bootleg where they kind of Kraft will fake his wham block and then just skirt, and then they'll just, that's a technical term, by the way.
Yes,
skirt,
it is.
and they'll just pop it to him. And generally he'll run for 10, 12 yards, run over a defensive back, and get 6 or 7 more yards and get pushed out of bounds. That's usually how that formula works. On this one, though, it is just a beautiful design. You can see the can motion by Malik Willis. You can see everybody understands that they're throwing a different play in here. And the flow of the play, you get Kraft on that wham block. You get him to go. And really, the guy who sort of makes the play here, and I'm going to get just run over for being a homer here, it's Christian Watson. And Watson fights through press coverage and gets a little love tap on the safety, who is going to need to cover this wheel route from Reed, and hit just a little bump. But I mean, he's fighting through contact. I don't think I'd even give this an OPI, and that little rub, and you see Cisco recognize Jaden Reed's coming across his face, and he's flat-footed. It's over, because Andre Cisco can't run with Jaden Reed anyway. He certainly can't run with Jaden Reed when Jaden Reed has a head start. And it's just a beautiful design, which it's basically a 3-man concept. Like, Watson is fighting to get kind of on a drag. You've got a deep sort of I don't know, like post corner sort of. It's just a clear out route on the top of the screen, and the play is certainly designed to get the drag wheel to Jaden Reed. And really, the beauty of it is that Dobbs takes Darnell Savage on this post corner. He takes the single high safety, and the Jaguars are just not able to sort this out. You see even Oluokun, who's wearing a safety's number but is a linebacker, turns around and it's just like, oh God. I mean, you can just see him. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
Hear him.
Yeah, and Cisco falls down. He like, and so that's why the play is so open. Let me tell you guys, this was going to be open either way. It doesn't matter that Cisco falls down. He was cooked. When you stop the ball, and I just stopped this, you can't see my screen, obviously. When you stop running this play where Reed and Cisco are in the same place at the same time, Cisco is squatted. His butt is this far from the ground. He is as flat-footed as it gets. He has absolutely no chance to make this play. And in sort of his panic, he falls down. But what's impressive to me, too, is how early Willis decides to let this thing go, and then what a long handoff it is. I mean, it is a perfect ball. And a great job, too, of sorting the whole thing out by the protection. I love Tucker Kraft just locking up Trayvon Walker. It's an 11-man game, and the Packers got, big stuff from their tight end here. They got big stuff from their QB. They got big stuff from Watson. They got obviously huge stuff from Jaden Reed. And honestly, Romeo Dobbs too, doing kind of his 111th, taking away that free safety. I just loved this, man. It was great.
Yeah, I've had so many thoughts on this. I dug deep into that. Cisco, I think, if I'm not mistaken, after the game was like, "Yeah, I cramped on that play, buddy. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter what happened. You were losing that rep.
You could have had the most expensive Gatorade in the world coursing through your veins."
And like, it's not on him. Like, it's a well designed. They ran the exact same play, which I think is what gave them that information precisely one quarter earlier. It was 1:13 in the third. They ran that play action boot, same exact formation, Reed on the wing as the wing tight end, running a kind of like fake bump inside and then just working into space behind the flat there. That was when Willis ran for like 20 yards or something. And then the funny thing about that, they lead up to that with like basically 2 plays out of the exact same formation. just waiting for the Jags to come down because they had too high, waiting for him to get in a single high. And as soon as they rotate that guy down, Willis cans it. They were looking for it. It sounds like they put it in during the game. I think Vrabel saw that and just leak it out the backside. I mean, we talked about getting your guys ready, coaching. I mean, this was the biggest play of the game for them to kind of, okay, we're going to put this in during the game because of what we saw. And then Willis not having any reps, executing it perfectly. Just a beautiful, beautiful play. I mean, anytime you see leak, that's all right, this was gorgeous. We need to talk about this all week, but I think everything around that, the circumstances around that, just an incredible play.
And to run leak with like your fastest, it's not the fastest.
Yeah.
I forgot who's on the team for a second there. But to run the leak with like a very dynamic player, sure, you can get Luke Musgrave's gangly ass out on that thing, and people are
just rumbling.
Yeah, but to get Jaden Reed out in that much space, it's like, man, that's impressive. And I get it too. Like I didn't think I tweeted this during the game. Was like, is this not the 32nd ranked defense by DVOA in the NFL because of some of the like clunky stuff? And then you see just how much pain Jordan Love was in and how difficult it was for him to move around. I get it. All right, Dusty, lead us to where you're going. What are we doing?
You said we're playing the hits. Let's play the hits, dude. I got the Tucker Kraft touchdown. So this is 14-16 in the fourth. This is 2 plays after the Edgerrin Cooper sack fumble of Trevor Lawrence. So they start at the 5, 2-yard run on first down. You got 2nd and goal at the 3. Packers in, again, Malik Willis in. Packers in 12 personnel. So you got the one. That's so cool, man. 1 running back. So you got the running back is Josh Jacobs aligned behind. The Packers don't really do pistol because pistol's like 3 yards, but they do 5-yard shotgun, and then they put the running back behind. So Willis technically like in shotgun, but with a pistol look with Jacobs 2 yards behind him. You get the YY wing with Sims and Kraft on the right, and then you got the 2 receivers. I think it's Watson and Dobbs on the left, kind of split out wide. The Jags obviously are looking power run to the left. You've got, so the outside, and the way they do this is really cool. Outside, you've got Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft's on the inside most tight end, and Ben Sims on the outside. They kind of do like a switch release block, and they do that for blocking angles where Kraft blocks out. Sims kind of releases underneath Kraft, takes the inside. They're running like an inside zone look. I thought it was duo, but there's really no double teams here. I think, Ross, and you tell me when we're done here what you think. I think this is an RPO based on how they're running. Usually you tell by the offensive line. Sean Ryan is immediately looking to get up to the second level, and you don't do that on play action because you don't want an eligible man downfield. I think this RPO, maybe post snap read, because Malik Willis is just staring at that boundary corner.
I think it's triple option.
I think it might be because he's looking to pull that. So if they crash, he probably pulls and runs that, but Kraft just gets wide open. And so you get this like switch release block. Dude fires down. Malik Willis looking him dead in the eye.
Dude, I think he's reading 33. I think he's reading 33.
Yeah.
And 33 jumps in and then kind of jumps in the hole and then squares up to Willis and lets Kraft go. I think if 33 freaks out and goes to Kraft, the play's probably dead because Sims loses his rep. But it obviously worked out the way they want. I think it's triple option, and I think it's sweet.
It certainly looks that way, which, as we talked about before, I mean, we talked about the other one not being in the game plan. There's no way this was in the game plan, right? With Love. There's no way they're running this with Love, which means they had a package of plays for Willis. They were not planning on running in this game. But once he got in, it was like, listen, man, let's dust this sucker off. They're down at the goal line. Kraft releases from his, again, inside block. Willis kind of sprints out to him. Kraft wide open, literally, Ross dances into the end zone, 4-6, gets the touchdown, Packers up 10. Just a beautiful, beautiful play call with who they have. And again, something that probably was not installed during the week, but they kind of dusted off the Malik Willis package, and it served him well here. Really, really nice play.
God, that was cool. Okay. Anything you saw defensively? We were pretty offense heavy. I thought the pass defense kind of fell to pieces when they had to lean on Stokes and really when they had to put Bullard in for Evan Williams. That seemed not to go super well. Any thoughts defensively besides another unbelievable splash play from our king Edrin Cooper?
No, I mean Bullard he's not used to playing from depth at this level yet. So we need Evan Williams back. Cooper, absolute monster. Well, man, you saw the Rashawn Gary crossover stuff over center. Like, if you're gonna do that stuff, you gotta get home, dude. You got to at the very least make an impact. He's over there, he's dancing, he's doing the crossover stuff over the center, and then he's just done. Like, dude, if you're going to do that, you got to be dead sure that you're going to make an impact here.
He played okay. He led the team with 3 pressures. He killed the right tackle and should have had a sack. I don't know how Trevor Lawrence got out of that. That was early in the game. He killed the right tackle. But yes, if you're going to do funny Myles Garrett stuff, you cannot run into your own defensive tackle.
One question for you, Russ, before I know we're running a little late here, but what do you make of the way they had their defense in this game? Because it seemed more like Hafley wanted to do 4 down and go stuff. A lot of the sim pressure stuff he's been doing the past few weeks, he was not doing. Do you think is that just because of who they were playing? They thought they could win this way, or they didn't want to kind of do that this week?
I think they had a ton of respect, and I think it's rightful for Trevor Lawrence. I saw some Packers fans, puffing up their chests a little bit about like, how could anyone possibly suggest that Trevor Lawrence is, more valuable than Jordan Love? And look, whatever, like, I'm not going to have that conversation. I think I would rather have Love. I think Trevor Lawrence leads Jordan Love in like QBR, quarterback rating, PFF passing grade, PFF overall grade, EPA per play, like any nerd stat you would want to look at. Lawrence is above Love and arguably has a much worse situation. Again, I'm not like, it's not what I'm getting.
Right. Yeah.
But for Packers fans to just be like, oh, our guy's way better. Okay. And I think that the Jeff Hafley treated him like a star. And just thought, you know what, this line isn't great. We're gonna go, and then you start to lose guys, and it gets real scary to start. Like, I think his simulated pressure stuff and even his 5 and 6 man pressures, they get so scary when it's like, okay, Bullard and Nixon and Stokes are just gonna be in man, and I think that gets really frightening.
Yeah. Well, when you saw Lawrence, like, clearly, like, okay, they're coming, I'm taking the flat. I'm taking flat. Like, you could see he's getting the ball out quick when they brought that stuff. So it felt like not a bad approach.
Tons of yak. And honestly, a ton of the yak wasn't even based on missed tackles.
Yeah.
It was just based on, if you're going to pressure that hard, you're not going to have that covered.
No.
So, all right, man. Thank you so much for your time. This was super fun, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your week. This one got a little long, but that's okay. Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.